Sorry. Welcome to Conversations, where your host, Carl Kozvo, talks with the world's most interesting people. And now, this week's Conversation. Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to another edition of Conversations here on RadioTitans.com. And I'm your host, Carl Kozlo. And today, we're always bringing you the most fascinating people in the worlds of comedy and showbiz and beyond. And I've got somebody that is one of my favorite comics on the planet, longtime supporter of Radio Titans. He's been on a bunch of times, and thrilled to have him. He's riding a real high career wave right now as one of the stars of the CBS sitcom Superior Donuts, opposite Jermaine Fowler, David Koechner, Katie Seagal, and Judd Hirsch. My God. He also has his first original Netflix stand-up special, Immigrant, was filmed at the Kennedy Center, and he is now currently available for streaming. He also has 3 other solo specials on Showtime, and he had a book, I'm Not a Terrorist, but I Played One on TV, that you can find at Amazon and everywhere else that fine books are sold. And he's also about to be supporting a documentary that's very special to him. And you can also find his fantastic comedy, Jimmy Westwood, American Hero, available also almost anywhere that you can find things streamed. Let's give it up for Mr. Maz Jobrani. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Carl. How are you, buddy?
Great, great. So you're off to show tonight, you were saying? You're off at the, Irvine Improv or something else?
Irvine Improv. That's right. I'm in traffic on the 405, just putting along.
Oh, I'm sure that's fun. Basically, I guess I'd love to ask you about the Superior Donuts. I mean, that's quite the cast there. But how did that come about? And how fun is that working with such a great group of people?
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's a CBS show for the people that haven't seen it on Mondays at 9 o'clock. It's I describe it as kind of Cheers in a donut shop. And it's got some great TV legends on there, Judd Hirsch, Katie Seagal. People will know David Koechner from the Anchorman movies. Jermaine Fowler is one of the stars of it. There's Rel Battle. We have Diane Guerrero. It's a nice, fun cast. And we're excited to be on TV, man. It's we're in season 2 right now, and I always jokingly say, as an actor of Middle Eastern descent, I'm used to dying in season 1, so I'm excited I got to season 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and as far as the show goes, I mean, one thing that you've really made a stand on recently, I saw there was a People magazine story about how you just really don't want to be playing or won't be playing terrorists on TV anymore, and so I mean, like you're also getting to set a pretty good example on Superior Donuts. Any thoughts about the weight of having to do? Do you feel that there's a lot of pressure, or is it something you're proud of doing, or is it a combination of both? To set a good example.
I don't feel any pressure. I just, early on when I started, I was born in Iran and I've grown up in America. And when I first started acting, some of the auditions I would get and a couple of the parts I got were playing terrorists, and that didn't feel good. So I told my agents no more terrorist parts. And so for the past 15 plus years, I haven't done a terrorist part. And in this show, I play an Iraqi businessman, Arab American businessman, who's trying to buy the donut shop. And as a matter of fact, he's a Republican and a Trump supporter.
Oh,
he's
really?
Kind of the hardcore guy of the show in that way.
Yeah.
I kind of think of him as the Rhea Perlman character from Cheers, or the Danny DeVito character from Taxi. I get to say a lot of inappropriate stuff and get away with it. But that said, I get pretty good feedback on social media. The character gets to say some funny stuff. So I think it's nice that there's a character of Arab American descent on American television that people that are watching seem to like.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fact that the politics of the character are that way, it's very unexpected, obviously, and it's played for laughs. But in reality, where do you stand on how the Trump administration is taking things? What's your opinion so far?
I'm very liberal, so I'm very different from this character that I play. But there are a lot of immigrants who support Trump. A lot of immigrants like the tough talk. They don't really see through it. They think that the guy's really tough. I'm not a big fan of the guy's. I'm exhausted trying to keep up with him. I think he says so much crazy stuff all the time, and I never thought he should have been president, and I hope that his presidency ends sooner than later.
Yeah, well, so then how about the whole climate right now in general, as far as I think that there was a lot of people, that there was a good show of, oh my God, what are you doing, when he tried to do the Muslim travel ban at the beginning. It was something that, for me, I lean to the right usually, but I voted Johnson, and because not a fan of the other person either, but I certainly didn't think that this guy would know what he's doing. That was my issue with him. But the thing was, but when he did that ban, it just shocked the hell out of me and so many people, and that's what really made me start going, okay, yeah, I really gotta be more out there talking about this stuff. So, did you find that the public reaction, I think, was so strongly against that? Was that maybe perhaps a watershed moment of, oh, people are starting to get it? 99.99% of Arabs are never causing a problem, and people are catching on, and maybe there's some hope for among the regular populace about how relations are proceeding, or did you have other thoughts about it?
I wish that's how it was. I think that the countries that are in the travel ban, none of them have committed an act of terror in America.
Yeah.
They've now put out 2 other travel bans, so now it's travel ban 3.0. And I believe I went to the protest at Los Angeles International against the travel ban, and I thought that the country had wisened up. But when I got home that night, I heard on the radio that a majority of Americans still supported the travel ban, because I think that they do a good job selling it by saying that it's going to make America safer. In reality, it's not going to make America safer, because, first of all, terrorists that have carried out acts of terrorism in America have come from places like Saudi Arabia and Egypt, and there were the 19 terrorists and other countries that are our allies. Secondly, Americans seem to be a bigger threat to America than foreigners, as we've been seeing with the more recent mass shootings. So I don't know if people have smartened up. I think that Trump still has something like 81 or 82% support amongst Republicans. I think a lot of people hold their noses and support him, because he is saying the things they want to hear. He's saying, "I won't take away your guns." He's saying that I'm gonna bring back jobs. I'm going to lower taxes. There's a lot of promises being made.
Oh, hey, hang on.
A lot of it is,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're faded. I said a lot of promises being made, and what else?
A lot of promises are being made, but It blows my mind, because a lot of people seem to be supporting him, even though it's not in their own best interest. So I don't know. I think that there was a little bit of a turnaround when he made the comments in Charleston about when those Nazis and skinheads were marching. I think that opened some eyes. But I really don't know what it's going to take for people to realize that this man is not qualified. I personally, honestly, without trying to be funny, believe he's got a psychological problem.
Oh yeah, sure.
He's a narcissist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a lot of the policies that they're trying to pass, and they are passing, I don't see the benefits to them. Even things like they're saying, they want to try and bring back, they promised the coal industry that they're going to bring back jobs. Well,
yeah, right.
Unfortunately, coal is just outdated. So there's a lot of promises that are being made, but can't be kept. This new tax law they're trying to pass, I'm reading more and more that it really benefits Trump and his family and people in the upper tax bracket and not as much others.
Okay, so one thing that you're really proud of right now is a movie that you executive produced, a documentary about your sister and her battle with cancer. What would you like to let people know about this? Is it already available?
Yeah, the movie is called Everything Must Change. It's
Okay.
available on iTunes. So if people go on iTunes and they search for Everything Must Change, it's the only documentary that's there. My sister was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2010, and unfortunately, this past year in August, she actually passed away. But she was a documentary filmmaker, and she made a firsthand experience, a movie of her experience, and I have seen it a few times with others. And it was part of the ArcLight documentary film series, and we screened it out there, and there was a few hundred people there. And it has been it's a beautiful film. It's a beautiful film. It's about it's a movie that will make it will make people laugh but also cry. It tells the story of my family, so it's also an immigrant story. And Maz Jobrani, my sister, was an amazing woman. I think if people are in the mood for a movie that's going to be uplifting and help them want to, it's going to encourage you to really live your life to the fullest every day. And it's called Everything Must Change. And we're taking 50% of the proceeds and donating it to charity in her name. So yeah, it's on iTunes. It's only $9.99, and people should check it out.
Great, yeah, I highly recommend that then. And sorry about your loss, of course, but with regard to you've also got a couple big hosting gigs coming up with the International Emmys and the International Documentary Association. What is the key to, is there like a certain trick of the trade to making a gig like special for the audience, even if it's not certainly nothing wrong with it, but I'm saying like people generally here get to see like the Oscars or the Tonys or something like that, but there's all sorts of awards out there. So what's the key to keeping it fresh and entertaining for people when at some of these other awards?
Yeah, I tend to try to make people laugh in these awards. I try to be self-deprecating at the top, and that loosens people up. And then from there, I think you just try to be a little inclusive and do a few jokes about the attendees. International Emmys honor TV shows from around the world that Americans don't see. So there's a lot to have fun with on that. And then the International Documentary Awards is another occasion where a lot of Americans don't see documentaries. So
yeah,
I guess I'm kind of I'm an incognito. I'm an under the radar host. I only host events that no one has seen the programs for.
Exactly, that's funny. Yeah, so then I guess I wanted to ask also, like, how did you get into comedy in the first place, or actually more importantly, could you tell us what was the journey to making it to America? You were with your family when you were like 6 years old, and the Iranian Revolution was happening with Khomeini and all that in the late 70s. So was it that your family was very Western-minded to begin with, as far as their attitudes a little more open-minded than what was coming in there, or was there other reasons that fueled their decision to move?
No, a lot of Iranians escaped Iran around the revolution. Anyone who was successful under the Shah was leaving. A lot of Iranians didn't know that the revolution was going to play out the way it did. And my father was on business in late '78 in New York City, and he told my mom that he should bring my sister and I to visit him during our winter break. And while we were in New York, the situation back home got worse. So we never returned. And I always say we packed for 2 weeks and we stayed for 40 years. And that's a common story. And that's another reason why I believe that I'm very sympathetic to all immigrants and refugees. We shouldn't be fearing Syrian refugees. Those people are fleeing a bad situation, and they're coming to America because they want a better life. So I think that gave me a lot of sympathy for others that